Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Spiritual Remedy. My name is Sunshine Day, and I see a world where people are living their best life and loving it. And I am here to provide spiritual tools and loving support for your personal transformation. It's so good to have folks here already and just kind of jamming on with us. Want to invite you to go ahead and let me know who you are, where you are tuning in from, and just say hello. Wow, here we are, another Monday. Is it raining in your area? What's the weather like in your area? What's going on for you? I would really love to just kind of see what's happening in your neck of the woods. Where are you? What's the weather like? Say hello. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Hey, good morning, Nancy. Nancy, I already know Nancy's in Long Beach, and you've been experiencing a lot of rain. Hello, Vida Spiritual Learning Center. So glad that you are here with us as well. And on YouTube, yes. Hey, Jason Wise. So glad to see you. You're also in Long Beach, California. So grateful to have you here with me today. You know, today I want to talk a little bit about practices. And the reason I'm talking about practices is because so many times we are engaged in practices that we like and practices that we don't like. So, my question to you is, what is a practice that you are engaged in that you like? And what is a practice that you're doing, and you might not consider it a practice, but something that you're doing maybe out of habit over and over again that you're ready to be rid of? I think it's important to kind of talk a little bit about some of the things that you're engaged in. Good morning, Jan Ford. You're in Los Angeles, right, Jan? Yeah, so what are the practices that you are engaged in that you love? And then what are the practices, like a routine? Thank you, Jason. Thanks for giving me another word. That's kind of like a routine. What's a routine that you're into, or something that you do that you love, and something that you do that you are not that you don't love so much? So Jason says, it's kind of like a routine, getting ready for work, and I'm preparing a meal. Yeah, so how do you do that? Is that something that you find frustrating? Do you have your stuff set up in your kitchen so that routine or that preparing that meal is easy, is graceful? Some people have a smoking practice, and it may not be working for you, or it may be working for you. What is a practice that you do that you love or that you don't love? Or even like late night eating or snacking, or are some of you engaged in meditation or a mindfulness practice? What are you doing? Sunny says, she's saying good morning to everybody. Lots of love to everyone. It's a sunny day out here in the LB in Long Beach. Ba-dum-bum. Sunny day. There's a sunny day. Good for you. What is a practice that you do? Or do you notice sometimes that you are biting your nails, or a routine? Let's see what Jason is saying here. This is pretty long. Well, it's like I planned when to do it. When you're really basically, I could ask you, like when I say when you prepare, or should just ask yourself, are you going to fix that for the day, right? So yeah, you could easily you could easily ask yourself, and have that be that routine. Like when you go back and forth playing ping pong in your mind, should I do it? Should I not do it? Um, uh, and you also say, or were you going to put on for a prayer day, or what you're going to do? Oh, okay. Well, yes, Jason, you are way ahead of the curve here. What what are the things that you are engaged in that you like and that you don't like? And here's the reason I'm asking. I'm asking because we get into routines. I love that you use that word, Jason. We get into these routines, we get into these patterns, we get into these habits that are either working for our highest good or working against our highest good. And I love, we live in Long Beach, and my beloved and I have this beautiful loft that we have set up. I love the way our kitchen is set up because each and every Friday, when it's not raining, I get a chance to walk a block and a half to the farmer's market. It's a routine. It's a routine. I get to walk to the farmer's market. We get some fresh fruits and vegetables. And what I love to do is I have it set up so that it, with ease and with grace, I can make a salad, and then I can add fruit, or I can make chia puddings for myself for the mornings, or add nuts to certain things, right? Like that's a routine that I get to do on Fridays. And I enjoy it. Now, we actually call that a spiritual practice? When does that routine, though, elevate to a ritual? Is it a ritual? What's the difference between a ritual and a routine and a spiritual practice? And that's really where I'm headed today. I'm headed today in taking a look at the things that we have in place that are ritualistic, the things that we have in place that are routine. I mean, here's the idea behind it. The idea behind it is this benefiting me, or is this working against my highest good and what's for my highest good? And we want to take a look at what the intention is. And is there really an intention? Is there an intention? Am I setting myself up for failure? Am I setting myself up for success? Nancy is commenting on this. She goes, a positive routine is to start every morning with like-minded people with the same goals. That's very interesting, right? Like going to a prayer, having a prayer group, or having an AA group or a 12-step group where you have like-minded people. I like to take that a little bit step further, right? Love-minded people. Like sometimes we don't have to have the same thoughts all the time. That helps though, right? It helps to gather us together. But having this love-minded community where I get to pray, right? Now, and the key is whether this it's a mindfulness practice, whether I do this with the intention of growing, of unfolding, whether I do this with the intention of loving myself. Like what is that? Like how do I do that? How do I enter into that practice? Is it mindlessly? Is it mindfully? Is it time to make the donuts? I know for me there was a few weeks in January and the beginning of February where I was just doing some sleep spinning, where before I could even tell myself, no, don't get up and do that, I was just kind of rolling out of bed and getting on that spin bike. Jan, I love that. I love that y'all talk to each other. Jan says, thank you, Nancy. That's why I'm here this morning, right? And it is for that like-minded, that love-minded community to get our week started. And so it's interesting to note those things or those habits that keep us stuck, those habits that hold us back, that distract us. As I like to say often, those weapons of mass distraction can create habits and ways of being that no longer serve us. Sunny says, I piddle. It becomes a practice of distract. There we go. It becomes a practice of distraction. I meditate daily. It's a practice of connection and clarity, right? And when we do that, we keep on growing. Thank you, Jason, for that. Yeah, what are the practices that are distractions, where we just kind of piddle and aimlessly are doing things just for the sake of being busy, compared to those things that we enter into mindfully, and where we are able to take that breath and feel alive and feel present. It's interesting because for me, those distractions, those piddling things like cleaning and, and going through paperwork, there are times where I mindfully must go through a box of paper or even my file cabinet. But before I get started with it, I get to kind of go, hey, wait a minute, how do I want to enter this? Am I ready to just be rid of and have the clarity to be rid of that which I need to just give away, that which I need to destroy? Or am I reminiscing, and thinking about the days past? The key is how present can we be in each and every moment, and then report on what we notice and report on what it is that we're thinking and feeling, and the thoughts that come through our minds. How present can I be? Because like the movie Click, when we allow these weapons of mass distraction and these practices that actually distract us from being fully present, when we do that, it's kind of not even fast forwarding through life, but yeah, we're just kind of like erasing as we're going. We don't even remember, at least I don't even remember what I was doing for that hour or two. However, when I mindfully enter into a chore, into a situation, like, okay, I'm going into this meeting. I'm simply knowing and praying that I stay present, that I'm involved, that which I need to say, I say, that which I need to hear, I hear, that the connections are made. And then when I walk into that meeting and I can be fully present because I've let everything else go, I can fully be present to the gifts of that moment. Thank you, Jan. Jan says here, she says, sometimes after prayer and I start my day, something negative crosses my mind, and I'll focus on that rather than the meditation that I just did. Wow. Isn't that true? Isn't that true that sometimes, we can pray for patience and then we're in the longest line and it's like, uh-oh, beware of what you pray for because you just might get it. So it's interesting to be able to come back to that, to just kind of notice and gently bring ourselves back to kind of notice, oh, look, I'm off in that negative track. I do that all the time. Sunny Day says, thanks. Yes, thanks, Sunshine. I'm going to try that. It's very interesting to be in that meditative state, right? And it's all good and well while we're there. And then we start our day-to-day activity, and sure enough, something happens. Or we head down in the brambles and the bushes, and we, where we, in that quote-unquote negativity. So when we notice that we're there, how do we gently bring ourselves back to, How do we gently bring ourselves back? And so what I want to share with you today is that, coming up in March, I'm doing 2 classes, and it's how to develop a morning spiritual practice and how to develop an evening spiritual practice. And those 2 classes are going to be next month, the beginning of next month. I think it's the 6th and the 8th. I'll bring up the dates in just a little bit. And in those classes, I am going to reveal to you some simple practices. These are simple, yet they're profound practices that Jan will actually also help in gently bringing us back to that sensation, to that feeling, to that calmness, to the serenity of our mindfulness practice, of our meditation, of the things that we're actually putting in place, so that when the negative hits, that we can gently bring ourselves back to present, to what is true. Now, I've been practicing this stuff for a long time, but am I perfect? Oh, heck no. And what happens is that as we evolve spiritually, as we mature spiritually, there are constantly more and more challenges and situations which call for us to have a deeper practice, a deeper and more profound practice. So that as these life changes begin to happen, as these situations begin to come, that we're actually getting, quote unquote, a bigger sense of source divine, of higher power, of spirit, of infinite intelligence, of the great reality. It's interesting because I say this all the time, and I'm taking a look at our time today. We're drawing close to a close. And when my problems and situations get so big, it is time for me to trust spirit, to trust higher power, to trust source divine, instead of putting on my faith, which is worry, doubt, and fear, is praying for something bad to happen. So I get to enlarge upon my idea of spirit. I get to enlarge upon my idea of spirit, of higher power, of infinite intelligence. And so that's why these spiritual practices, no matter how long we've been sober, no matter how long we've been on a spiritual path, no matter how long we've been engaging, we get an opportunity to up our game so that we continue to live an amazing life. And I think that that's what it really is all about, right? Hey, Lisa, good to have you with us this morning. That's what it's all about. It's about enlarging upon my idea of of higher power. When other classes, I'm gonna play a clip so you know exactly how to sign up for the classes in just a minute. Before I sign off, I just want to be able to tell you that I absolutely love you, and that it is incumbent upon our daily spiritual practices that we live our best life. Because we get back to center, we get back to present. I know my mind likes to go off into what could possibly go wrong, and sometimes preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best. And I get to keep on with my spiritual practices so that I can be fully present. All right, beloveds, my time is up. Stay tuned. I'm going to play for you right now an invitation to my classes. And until next week, know that you are loved. Sign up. I want to see you in my class. Sunshine Day, stopping in to just personally invite you to my workshop. It's called How to Create a Regular Spiritual Practice. Now, if you're a person who's seeking wholeness, peace of mind, abundance, joy, if you're looking for that sense of belonging,
it is only through a regular spiritual practice that you actually get that sense of wholeness, that sense of oneness, that sense of belonging and being. And so my goal is to teach you morning spiritual practices and evening spiritual practices. Yes, there are evening spiritual practices that you can engage in that are going to boost you and skyrocket and deepen your sense of well-being. So I want you to join me. It's March the 6th and March the 8th. One is going to be an evening practice. One is going to be for a morning practice. Each of them are $25 a piece, but if you sign up for both, you get them both for only $40. So please visit the website at vidaslc.org. That's vidaslc.org. And remember, you are loved.